I'm Margaret Starry, and this is the story of my very unintended life as it is now. 3 years ago, I graduated from Western with my master's degree in English, and I was truly kicked out into the world. I was forced to leave what I felt like and called my home, Bellingham. I packed up my life and my cat into my little gold car, and I left my little beautiful gold home, and I drove away and came back to Spokane. I looked back a lot, and anyone who knows me can tell you that I am definitely the looking back type. The years there had not been kind to me at all, but I felt completely displaced and hopeless. Then I got mad. I got really mad. I got mad for a year. I drank a lot. I stopped reading, even though I had a degree in English and I worked in a bookstore. And I stopped talking to and communicating really with the people who knew me well and loved me. I was so mad. I took all the boredom and anger I had inside of me and I nurtured it. And all the deep, unfulfilled feelings I had inside of me, and I nurtured them hard and long enough to become a real asshole. I pretty much became a champion asshole. From my early teen years, my whole life had been about control. My whole identity rested in being a top student and what I thought was this really uh, forceful, unapologetic person in the world. But that was just the way I idealized myself to be. And I craved chaos, and so I created it. Then I got pregnant. I looked at the multiple pregnancy tests that I took, all saying pregnant in big capital letters over a period of days, as I realized I had a real decision to make. And I made a decision that I never intended to make. I decided to stay pregnant. Pregnancy was definitely not easy for me. I even though I abandoned the pain and rage that I had felt before, I I started to find what felt like joy, but not in the ways that I had imagined. I I felt for the first time my biology take over, and I became sicker than I had ever been. My body started doing, frankly, like very sci-fi esque stuff. I found the most overwhelming feeling helplessness. I abandoned myself into the sickness that was created from my pregnancy. And sometimes I was in bed for days at a time, unable to eat or move without major coercing from myself and the people I loved. But then I also gained 50 pounds. I grew literally and emotionally in ways I never could have anticipated. And then I found the ultimate helplessness, as after 40 hours of labor and 4 hours of pushing, I was rushed into an emergency C-section, and I was unable to give birth to my son naturally. And I realized that with all the planning, nothing was ever going to go according to plan. And I also found patience. The patience of not being able to control what would happen, not knowing what would happen, and definitely being shocked by the pace at which things happened. I completely lost myself in the unexpected in very good, definitely good ways. I also convinced I was going to give birth to the next teeny tiny feminist icon of the world. Found out that I was having a boy. So I found lots of delights in the surprises that I was given. As I talked to a lot of women through my pregnancy and after my birth, I found also a lot of sisterhood and communion in the writers and poets and professionals and my mother that I admired so much, as they reassured me and we commiserated about the fact that the unexpected was okay and, in fact, expected. I used to sing to my son when I was in the hardest early days of my pregnancy to pull myself through. I had always called him my little sesame seed, and I used to sing, "Sesame seed, I love you. Sesame seed, I can't wait to meet you." And I would sing that over and over and over again until I would feel myself flooded with the dreams of my life with my baby. And now I'm there. Now I wake up at 6 in the morning when my son decides, and my day is pretty much dictated by his whims and desires, which most of the time, really, I'm very happy to live by. And I also co-sleep with him because, quite frankly, he's kind of a mama's boy and a light sleeper. I never could have pictured the life that I live now, especially when I was in my early 20s. But now I find solace in this really uninhabited, peaceful, step-by-step, day-by-day life that we're forced to live, surviving from breakfast to bedtime. My story is definitely not singular. I am not the only unintended mother to ever be, but I am a very grateful one. The outrageous girl that I used to identify myself as, the one who was a little too loud, a little too much, I now watch live in my very untamed, wild, big, born at 9 pounds 5 ounces, 8-month-old baby boy. And his name is Rhodes.